Shalom Yasharallah, this is your brother Dawud Da, coming back at you with the truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakak Kudash. Top honor to the apostles and elders of the great millstone that taught us this truth and our rule well. And salutation, much love for your Akim pushing the truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So let's jump into this here article real quick. It says Big Tech sued for deadly lack of censorship. And, as we've always been telling you about, these things that's coming to pass, when it comes to the famine of the word, all right, and the persecution that's coming down, all right, they're not going to necessarily, what you see going on is, a trap is being set. They're not going to just ultimately come out and say, hey, we're against the Israelites and everything else like that. But you see a lot of these different narratives that are being, so-called, not to say paired together, but, when it's almost like a buzzword. When you hear about, like, let's say, for instance, if I was to say the name Kevin Samuels, what is the first thing to come to your mind? Misogynist, right? You know what I'm saying? So they'll pair certain things, or Alex Jones, conspiracy theorist, right? So they'll get you, how do I say, they'll normalize certain things. So when you hear these things, what in these terms, they say like white supremacists, all right, nationalists and all these different things, bigots and all these different things, and they put these things out here. But ultimately, it's talking about, they're preparing the legislation to come down with great wrath on Jake, man. All right, and the things that, the prophets are on the highways and the byways out here speaking about now. What was it last year? They had I think it was in the UN or somewhere like that, where they had it to where they was trying to make it to where you can't talk about, and I spoke about this over the weekend at camp. We're gonna call these people the children of the roaches, the roach children, right? That family. You can't speak about them or certain of these other things that they out there doing, man. All right, but yet and still, when they own all these so-called big tech firms and all these different things, and you can go dig deep into these things. This is owned by Zuckerberg, this is and these companies are all owned by Vanguard, BlackRock, all right, which is all owned by these same people anyway. All right, and this is how these people are able to control and censor all these things, all right, through these corporations. And as you can see, people think that they have the, how do I say, freedom of speech, all right, in which they're like, yeah, you got freedom of speech, but yeah, you got to use our platform to be able to do these things. This is where you're using your platform at. So if it offends our guidelines or whatever, all right, it's like there's a difference between, here in America, all right, through the legal system, you have what they call laws, right? Legally, don't nobody give a damn about no rules. Like, you broke a rule, you can't really sue nobody for breaking a rule. But you break a law, you know what I'm saying? Hey, you can be punishable by those things, right? But nevertheless, hey, they use these things now to, enforce these things. But we know what this is all coming against, with the famine of the word, all right? This here, truth that you hear going out, man, all right? And they like to pair a lot of these things, that's going on in the world, these active shooters and things like that, all right, to the minute of the Lord. And you'll see how they have it kind of worded in this here article. But it says, a new lawsuit accuses some of the largest U.S. tech firms of failing to prevent a mass shooting in May 2022. And again, playing off of the emotions of the people, right? Oh, this is so sad. Because some of these stories, right? You can't even talk about the damn story without people getting all up into their feelings about it and just immediately counting you out as some kind of like crazy person. Like, wait, you believe this and this and that? Like, that ain't what I'm saying. I'm saying is, like the scripture would say, never trust thy enemy. All right, just be, you got to understand you're dealing with Esau. Esau willing to sacrifice his own people for a certain agenda that benefits him. So you can't just always look at things of how, they so-called are. But they'll have you trying to defend certain things like this until they realize, we've opened up Pandora's box. And I say this, I've been saying these things about, some of these people, I forgot some of these people we didn't, was it like there was the Alex Jones, I named some of these folks, but Alex Jones, the Andrew Tates and all these people. A lot of these people are set up in pawns, all right, not to go too far off topic, but a lot of these people are set up in their pawns for the fact of just the mere fact of, because see, when you have, you got to understand who the hell you're dealing with. You're dealing with Esau, man. All right, this nigga is the master manipulator. This nigga stacked the board on both sides. Like, when people think about the Republicans and Democrats and shit like that, like, nigga, these niggas, this is WWF all over. They both going home and after, they debating on TV and fighting with each other on TV, they go and eat steak dinner together. You know what I'm saying? This is who you're dealing with. But nevertheless, Esau will create a so-called villain on purpose to villainize these things just so that they can, how do I say, predictively program your ass on how to deal with, so like I said, using buzzwords. Oh, you one of those Alex Jones type guys. We know about these people, but they've went ahead and canceled this guy, shut him down, or not just him. You got him, Farrakhan, what was it, Alex Jones, Farrakhan, Andrew Tate, and all these motherfuckers. Again, whether you like what they say, they don't say, whatever. It's like, well, wait a minute. If you allow them to get kicked off the internet, all right, Donald Trump getting kicked off the internet and being censored on these major platforms, it's all they doing. You know, these people, again, they don't mind being used as scapegoats. They don't mind as being put up as pawns and stuff. That shit don't really matter to them. They get paid off to be the so-called on-screen bad guy. If you know anything about wrestling, right, watching wrestling, you have two components. I'm not sure the actual titles for these two, but one is what they call a heel, I think, and the other one is a baby face, right? One guy's always supposed to be in a position of winning. You know, you have there's another title for these other guys that come in, and their whole job is to so-called put the new guy that they trying to promote over. You know, make sure you go in there and lose to this guy. Right? That's the whole point of this guy. He's not going in there to so-called look good, do his best, and to win. His job is to go in there to lose, to make the other guy look better, right? And so they take jobs doing this. And this is what you have situations like this that go on as well, too. All right? Like I said, if you allow them to, you might not like Farrakhan, but then they go ahead and shut Farrakhan down because, he's preaching some religious ideology. They're like, we don't give a fuck about the shit that he talk. Like, we don't believe in the shit that he talking about anyway. This nigga's off. But if you shut him down, if we sit here and we gang up to say shut him down, then what happens when they come to shut us down? You see what I'm saying? So, hey, at the end all be all, this is what it's all being prepared for, all right? It's at the last minute, like a scapegoat, all right? At the very last minute, you pull the scapegoat out, and then you have the ones that you're about to basically lead to the slaughter, man, all right? So it says the family members, and again, they're using your so-called emotions here from the victims. Like I said, some of these stories you can't even talk about, like, oh, you don't think that the victims' families have a right to sue these companies, and this is like, it ain't got shit to do with that. You know what I'm saying? Just because, they will put it into the gamification, they'd be live streaming some of this here stuff, but you know what I'm saying? Again, it's like they're putting the so-called fallback on all of these things, all right? It says the family members of the victims killed in the shooting rampage in New York supermarket last year have sued Google, right? And we know about, where, the heavy lifting of this here word going forth, all right, is on what? The YouTube, which is owned by Google, right? The number one and the number two biggest search engines in the whole world. You got Google is number one and YouTube is number two. But, and they only in competition with their own stuff. It's the same company. All right. So it says Google, Amazon, Meta, which is Facebook, and other tech giants for allegedly helping to expose the gunman to propaganda, which radicalized him to violence. Right now. So like, and you see how ambiguous this is. Now, like I said, playing off of people's emotions. Right. This is because, again, you try to argue this with some so-called sane people. They go, oh, you don't care about people getting killed. Like, how dare you? People were killed and children were killed and all this and that. You're a sick monster. Like, well, wait a minute. Let's listen to what they're saying. They're saying, let's read it again. It says, they're suing. Basically, it says these tech companies for allegedly helping to expose the gunman to propaganda. Now, we'll get into that. But, like, well, what propaganda is just basically you're propagating somebody. You so-called gassing them up on something. But what happens if we was propagated? Because now, granted, we all have seen this nigga now. I forgot what his name is, but it's the guy that says, you wonder how I can eat these donuts and look like this? It's not carbs. It's not cardio. It's not this. It's not that. Click here for my little ebook, and then we'll find out what body type you are. You can look like this. People always ask me how, now, granted, this nigga is probably selling some shit, but this is just a commercial that we probably all have seen, right? And this dude is selling what? A healthy lifestyle, healthy and so on and so forth, right? Now, let's use the same thing. Now, the same platforms are still propagating these things, but you wouldn't sit over here and award this guy for, how they say, promoting a healthy lifestyle. Then you can go on the same platform and look up what they call mukbangs, where motherfuckers are stuffing their face full of food, which is promoting an unhealthy lifestyle, which goes back into the healthcare system, which more and more taxpayers got to pay for. How come there's no outrage about this shit? You see what I'm saying? Like, if we really want to talk about people got, propagandized or radicalized because y'all allow this shit on y'all platform, like literally anything could be like that, bruh. Like, you can have little girls that sit over there and watch the makeup tutorials, and then now they just makeup junkies all the goddamn day, playing video game junkies all day. You know what I'm saying? Or even, so-called beneficial stuff, because they got beneficial things on YouTube that you can watch all damn day long. Like, if you sit there and watch how to fix the plumbing, how to fix a toilet, nigga, you be a proficient plumber, after a while. But they're not saying anything about these types of things, man. They're not talking about, hip-hop music videos and smoking the ops or twerking and shit. Matter of fact, they had recently the boy King Von, well, it wasn't him. Somebody did a video or a documentary on him talking about that this nigga was hip hop's first serial killer, and shit and made waves to where everybody talking about this shit. Now, this wasn't like no big channel or nothing like that. Or I don't know if it was a big channel, but it's not like a HBO type shit. Put it that way. This is somebody who didn't put together this here information or whatever, right? Now, saying all that to say this, like I said, this thing that made so much head waves and all this stuff, because again, this is not a promoted thing, but you hear these things bleed over into other people's conversation and other people's videos about this and that towards a trend setting topic point, right? Now, I say all that to say this. This shit got all kind of play and all kind of media, not to mention the shit in the streets and the music and stuff like that. How come they not talking about how rap and hip-hop music, talking about smoking the ops and hip-hop's first serial killer killing all these people and rapping about it and tweeting about it? How come that's not radicalized either, man? All right, so again, like the scripture said, we're not ignorant of Satan's devices. They push and promote things like that, right? But then, and they push and promote a lot of other things as well, too, when it comes to the community. We're not going to talk about those things. But in this here scenario, as we're going to read further on down, they tie these certain things into these things. But again, we're not ignorant of Satan's devices, and this is one of the things that we've been saying from early off. Now, if you have any newcomers that's coming around that don't know nothing, it's just jumping off the porch. And of course, the environment is a lot different now than it was some years back, where there was a lot of action, so to say, out on the highways and the byways. You know what I'm saying? If you was around back then, you would know about it. But nowadays, it's calm. You don't really see all that stuff going on nowadays, man. Everybody knows who we are and everything else like that. The police are fully. It's so bad to the point now where the police know and they get a phone call. They know that we're not the aggressors. It's the other person. But saying all that to say this, we're not no aggressors with these things that we've been saying from the beginning. It's the Most High that's going to be bringing down this here judgment on these people. It's the Most High that's going to be doing all these things, man. We've been prophesying the downfall of Babylon the Great. People will call us extremists and everything else like that, man. But guess what's not in the news right about now? You don't have in the news, they talk, I don't know if I can really word this, but follow what I'm saying. They don't have in the news that men that's on the highways and the byways reading Bibles and calling themselves men of the Lord and prophets, they're not blaming them for America being shut down for the last 2 years or whatever because of some kind of sickness. That's not the talking point, that these guys in their basement, while they was reading Bibles, came up with some kind of virus and put this shit out. No, we not the problem that's killing off all these people. You don't hear a story talking about, it's these guys is walking around with Bibles holding USSR missile signs and UFO signs talking about the Lord is black, that's causing Russia to so-called invade Ukraine. You know what I'm saying? And people dying over there. See, we're not the issue about these things, and we're not the issue for all these people that's just dropping dead in these mass shootings. You don't have people that's walking around, you know what I'm saying, in what you call men of the Lord, that we wear the garments, you know what I'm saying, with our Bibles and stuff like that. That's out here just like walking up in the schools and grocery stores and mowing people down. You don't see that shit going on like that, man. All right, so like, you know what I'm saying? Like this is not what, when it's crazy because, you have these stupid ass Americans that'll make these little jokes about these Arabs and they call them terrorists and shit like that. Now, when we on the highways and the byways, before, everybody knew who we were, they will call us Arab, or they will call us Muslims, right? But they wouldn't call us terrorists. You see what I'm saying? If you get the point of what I'm saying, they knew what they're like, well, them niggas is just Muslims or something like that. They never even, I'm saying all this to say this. People know that we're not of a violent faction, but yet this is the narrative that they're trying to paint, all right? That we're physically doing some stuff, harming people, when all we're doing is speaking. Where on the contrary, these people are drugging folks, inoculating them with all kind of pestilence and diseases, all right? Feeding them fake lies and propaganda and everything else like that. You just had a whole insurrection at the Capitol building based off of some lies that they were pushing and propaganda that they were pushing. And they went over invading the Capitol building because they were screaming Yahweh and Yahweh Shah. All right, they addressed Judah. They wasn't screaming nothing like that, man. These was a bunch of Edomites doing this bullshit, man. All right, but yet and still, this is what Esau wants to try to blame, ultimately on the men of the Lord, man. But they using this here, how do I say, your emotions. Oh, people died and we have to stop these things. And it's because of these social media sites that's allowing all these things to happen, man. Well, what about, we can go into society falling about men not wanting to be with women, not saying like men wanting to be with men, but men going their own way, women going their own way, nobody wanting to reproduce. This is all something that's coming in hookup culture, STDs being spread. This is all because of social media and stuff, but nobody's out crying about that. And that's way worse of a problem. There's more people that's dying off from being aborted, more people that's being not born just from reproducing, all right, and from one night stands and families being brought up in, or children being brought up in broken households, which stems back off into these shooters and stuff like that. And all this is being pushed and promoted by hookup culture. But yet that's not radicalizing people. But yet the so-called white supremacists and shit like that. And in reality, man, like, who give a fuck about these white supremacists? All they do is they walk around. They pretty much like us. You know what I'm saying? Like, in a sense where all they're going to do is walk around and just talk shit. They're not really doing nothing. You know what I'm saying? They just doing a bunch of, like how they would say, a bunch of nigga shit. And to them, that's all we doing. All they not really doing that. They're going to just stand on the highways and the byways, read their Bibles and scream. And that's it. They ain't really doing nothing. You see what I'm saying? So, but this here narrative that they're pushing, all right, or what's really going on, hey, man, we know that this is coming down. The scriptures speak about this persecution, man. All right. So let's go ahead and read this. It says, filed in the New York Supreme Court on Friday, the 144-page lawsuit, it says the 144-page lawsuit claimed the internet platforms failed to prevent the 18-year-old shooting Peyton Gendron from viewing extremist material online and therefore carried out some responsibility for the massacre in Buffalo. Listen to how ambiguous this is. It says they failed to prevent him from viewing extremist material online. So how was they supposed to prevent him from viewing extremist material online, for one? And well, they could censor this and that. Well, the better question is what are we defining as extremist material? All right, and from whose point of view? Because from the Men of the Lord's point of view, you know what some extremist material would be? Smoking the ops, doing drive-bys on the ops. All right, twerking and shit. There's like you can see videos of people getting shot on YouTube like all day long. Like literally people getting shot on YouTube all day long. And that shit is up there. People have channels where they just show people getting shot in traffic, all kind of crazy shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that shit it's on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? It's not necessarily, but the context is they just showing you maybe from a CCT camera footage. You're just watching the footage. There's no context of somebody saying, hey, go do this or whatever. But they have channels that get views, millions of views. They get way more views than the Men of the Lord get. You know what I'm saying? Because controversy sells, man. All right. You got rappers talking about killing each other. All right. You got them talking about doing drugs with one another, a bunch of violence, going back and forth with one another. One of the big lucrative things right now is interviewing these Chicago drill rappers talking about killing one another, man. Like I was just speaking about that documentary. This is a big thing, but that's not called extremist, propaganda stuff that they out here showing, man. All right, but getting still, like I said, hey, when you over here talking about pushing health, all right, and the healthy things, we just seen what happened when it came to the tequila shot and stuff like that. When you talk about the truth, which they saying now, the things that they told us and censored us from saying is now what the mainstream narrative of what they going with now. Like we were saying this first, but that was the wrong thing to say, and we need to censor these people because that was an extremist thought pattern, an extremist viewpoint. And the things that we were saying that was going to happen that you're going through right now, that's a conspiracy, that's extremist, that's misinformation. But it's all actually here right now. It's actually going on. All right. But getting still, this is the things that they're trying to so-called stop from happening when in reality, hey, you're just being informed, man. You have the right to be informed and how they say free press, man. All right. It's up to you how you're going to take the information. We just giving you the information of what's going on out there, man. All right. But it says Gendron was motivated to commit his heinous crimes. Now listen how they tie it in by racist, anti-Semitic, and white supremacist propaganda fed to him by social media companies whose product he used. The complaint said, adding that his radicalization was the result of a conscious decision to design, program, and operate platforms and tools that maximize users' engagement and corresponding advertising revenues at an expense of public safety. Now, this is all bullshit if you understand from a content creator's perspective. Now, the Men of the Lord, in a sense, we are, you can say, content creators because we see the back end of all this here stuff, right? Now, if you notice on none of our videos have commercials at the beginning or at the end. We don't monetize our channels, right? So you can say that, yeah, we kind of content creators because by definition, we are uploading on the platform, right? But we're not so-called content creators like for profit, more or less to say, all right? As far as, we have monetization and everything else like that. But even if you were to go down their line, this is not me speaking from experience of being a content creator because, again, we don't put advertisements, but as from experience of just watching YouTube as a consumer and listening to some of the people that I watch on YouTube and they talk about certain things. Hey, don't say this word, we're going to get demonetized. Hey, don't speak about that. We can't get sponsors for this and that. We can't talk about this. We can't speak on that. And these different things, the sponsors are very picky. If people are in, that's their way of making money. They're very, open about that. So it's very safe to say if somebody's speaking about certain things, like even on, certain content, if you show a certain amount of skin, whether it's a man wearing, a wife beater or something like that, sometimes, hey, you lose advertisers just based off of that alone. You know what I'm saying? You use certain words, you get, you lose advertisers off of that. So talking about being extremist, right? You know, imagine you trying to you had a web page or some shit like that where they say, hey, you can't show no skin. Like I said, as far as even a man wearing a wife beater where his arms are showing, you know, his shoulder blades are showing, that's too much skin. Right now, imagine you trying to so-called sell like a sexually explicit website or some pictures or some shit like that, and they got rules like that. You ain't getting around that, man. All right, so we already know that this is not like, yo, this is, the advertising revenue they can be able to pull it. They're not advertising off this here stuff, man. All right, so this is all BS, man. Not to say that you don't have racists on there and all kind of little bullshit, but that's not what's motivating motherfuckers to do no shit like that. I'm telling you now, real motherfuckers is not sitting around on no goddamn, well, you do have these Edomites. I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say, but you do have these Edomites out here just bugging out, doing some crazy shit. I can't speak for them. But I was going to say, you ain't got nobody like, bro, I ain't got time to be sitting over here reading no goddamn comments and commenting on some shit. I'm going to just turn the channel if I don't like this shit that they talking about, man. All right? But nevertheless, it says the suit was brought by 3 relatives of the victim in the shooting, as well as survivor Latasha Rogers, and targets Facebook, Instagram parent firm Meta, Reddit, Google, Snap Inc., Discord, and Amazon, which owns the Twitch video streaming site 4chan. The irreverent image board, notorious for its trolling campaigns, was also named in the case in addition to Gordon's parents, or Ginger's parents, whatever his name was. But nevertheless, hey, you see basically all these big conglomeration companies that own everything else that you would be using anyway, right? It says the complaint goes, so we see where this is a broad net to cast, to catch everything in it. It says the complaint goes on to claim that Gendron had no previous history of racial violence or hate crimes, arguing his exposure to racist content online ultimately led to the heavily armed gunman to kill 10 people and injure 3 others, 11 of whom were black. All right, and again, you know what I'm saying? Hey, you try to bring this out to black folk. What you saying? That white boy? I guess this was a white boy, but this white boy killed all these black folks. Man, they racist. This is might have been, but again, trying to put these things on some of this here stuff like that. Come on, man. You know what I'm saying? Like we understand where this is going to. All right, because if you really want to stop, the violence, there's more people that's listening to what the fuck, Lil Durk and them Chicago rappers talking about drill rapping and killing each other, smoking the ops. You got more people that's actually out here going around committing violent crimes, shooting and killing, that's motivated by that shit than some racist extremists is going around with these mass shootings and things like that. All right, because let's be real. You can have all the mass shootings, which I think they up to 500 so far this year. All right, you can take all the mass shootings that you got in America that y'all didn't heard about, didn't hear about. I guarantee you that there's more shootings in the hood, and we could probably just say Chicago alone. All right, and any other major hood in America, man. Well, just between Jake just shooting at each other and gang shit going on or whatever. All right, so reality, if you really want to talk about curbing gang violence, now the difference between Jake shooting and these mass shootings is Esau be rolling up in anywhere, the damn supermarket, and be letting off on any and everybody. Jake is pretty much just only smoking his ops. If you're not in his gang or gang territory or gang ops, you ain't really got no, Becky in the suburbs ain't got to worry about Jake, doing a drive-by on her downtown and whatever fucking O Block and shit like that. Becky from the suburbs ain't got to worry about the O Block war that's going on. You know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, it says last November, Gendron pleaded guilty to murder, hate crimes, and domestic terrorism, admitting his attacks were motivated by racial hatred. He received a life sentence and could still be handed the death penalty for federal hate crime. Gendron reportedly published a 180-page manifesto during his views on white nationalism, mass immigration, and other political issues days prior to his shooting, claiming that he adopted his ideology after he visited 4chan's politically incorrect board, whatever. Another thing I want to say about this here stuff, when they talk about this white nationalism and stuff like that, again, white supremacy and stuff, whenever you hear that, Jake, should be thinking about, whenever you hear white supremacy and this white nationalism stuff in these news organizations, automatically replace that with, with you, all right? Because they just use that as a cloak, because once they can get everybody to jump onto that and all this race, again, it's just the Alex Jones thing. Whether you like him, if you don't, if they can sit there and cancel him for whatever he's talking about, or Farrakhan, all right, I don't like Farrakhan. I don't support Farrakhan at all. I don't believe that he should be spreading the shit that he's spreading to our people. But however, the fact of the matter, if I was like, all right, you can go ahead and cancel him because I don't agree with what he said. Well, what happens if somebody, one of them niggas in the Nation of Islam don't agree with me? We're going to cancel the, nah, hell nah. Like, I don't agree with Farrakhan saying I'm just not going to watch his shit. I'm not going to support his shit. That's clean as day. But, you know what I'm saying? When you start censoring these things, we already know where this is going because the scriptures speak about these things, man. All right? And the prophecies. All right? Let me jump down through here. I didn't want to go too far in there. But nevertheless, hey, 2nd Esdras 5 and 8 says, 5 and 9. It says, and then shall, it's like, and salt water shall be found in the sweet, and all friends shall destroy. Should have read that in Amos first, but we'll just go ahead and read this. Matter of fact, let me go to Amos first, and then we'll come back to that. This is Amos 8 and 11. It says, behold, the days come, saith Yahweh power, that I will send a famine in a land, not a famine of bread, nor of thirst for water, but of hearing the word of Yahweh. So now you're still gonna have a famine of bread that's coming. You're gonna have people fighting each other for the lack of bread. All right, food prices going up. You're not gonna be able to buy or sell. Say if you either have the mark. Yeah, those times are still coming, right? But before we get to those times that's coming, you're gonna have what? You're gonna have a which we're going through right now, what they call an information war. Right, so truth is being contested out here on these streets, man. All right, the information highways, truth is being contested. Hey, is there only two genders or is there multiple genders? You know what I'm saying? And what's the right ideologies? All these things, man. All right, so you have this here information war, but see, Esau has the power to cut down the so-called traffic highways, man. All right, but this is why what is that? 55 and 6. Let me see. Yep. Oh, excuse me. Isaiah 55 and 6. It says, seek ye Yahweh while he may be found. Call ye upon him while he is near. All right. And see, this here time that we have that's available to us as a grace period, man. Right now, if you're watching these here videos, man, all right, that, the famine of the word hadn't taken place, which we're going to get back into that. But that the famine of the word hadn't taken place. So you can go online, you can go on YouTube, you can watch these videos. Hey, you got a question or concern. There's you freshly new into this here thing. You watching one group, then you watching another group, and you have a question. Hey, when is the Sabbath? These guys are saying from Friday to Saturday, or Friday to Saturday is the Sabbath, and you guys are saying the Sabbath is on, starting at the new moon. Which one is it? You can go into that comment section. You can ask a question. You can watch for a video to be responded. To be contested with these things, man. All right, you can go and hey, I don't have a full understanding of this. Can you break this down? What does this mean? All right, you can ask all these. You can go and search up all these things, man. You can sit there and binge watch as much as you can and take in all these here videos. Granted, a lot of this stuff has been, channels been deleted and so more. We had so much more of it beforehand. But hey, there's enough information out there for you to gather. As much as you want at this point in time. But guess what? There's going to come a point in time where it's going to be illegal to talk about some of these things, man. All right. Again, they say, hey, extremist ideology. Well, what the hell is extremist to you? All right. Is it extreme to say that, there's only two genders, a male and a female? Like nowadays, if you speak about things like that, they'll tell you, no, you're wrong. You're politically incorrect. You could lose your job over these things. If you don't, somebody want to identify as a turtle and you say, well, nah, this is not so on and so forth. For this man is saying, I seen this little South Park snippet the other day where they was telling this nigga, the little teacher, that he couldn't have I'm gonna use the word an ejection. All right, he couldn't eject his baby. And he's like, no, you're offensive. You can't be offending me like that. What are you saying? I can't eject my baby. It's like, well, you can't do it because you're not pregnant. It's like, well, what do you mean I ain't pregnant? I identify as pregnant. Like, no, you can't get pregnant because you're not you're a man. He's like, no, I'm offended. But see, this is where we are right about now, man. They're calling these things extremists if you don't bow down to these things, man. All right, so hey, real masculinity and standing up for what's right. Hey, man, this is all out the window nowadays, man. All right, so hey, with these, like I said, a lot of these people are, you look at this Kevin Samuels and things like that. You may think of, hey, these are champions that are, emerging from the darkness. But hey, a lot of the times this is controlled opposition. All right, these types of people are being put up on a pedestal just to be crushed. All right, it's like buck breaking. Hey, you see what happens when you got to listen to Kevin Samuels in your little fucking dungeon with your headphones on. If you listen to that out in the public, everybody going to look at you and point fingers at you and say, oh, you're a boogeyman, you're a bad guy, right? This is what these things, what happens upon these things, man. So, hey, it's going to come a point in time where this has become extremist ideology. Oh, you're an extremist. You're a religious extremist. Why? Because we believe in, discipline, all right, having self-control, following after the law, statutes, commandments, having bodily control over yourself, man. not eating whatever you want, not being a glutton, just giving over to the desires of the flesh, man. All right, we trying to walk in the spirit, man. All right, and you're calling us extremists for that, and it's only really making us a better world or whatever, And I always say this, it's like, look, bro, I'd rather have a goddamn a Muslim, a Arab Muslim living next door to me than a fucking rampant ass heathen atheist nigga, because they about to have all kind of shit popping off next door, man. Not to say that they like worshiping the devil type shit, but they just don't have self-discipline and shit like that. They might be partying all night, every night, you know what I'm saying? Just getting buck wild and crazy out there. Whereas we know that these damn Muslims is living next door, they're gonna have a little bit of discipline with themselves, man. They're not finna be out here turned up partying and drinking. They don't even drink and shit like that, man. All right, they're gonna be kind of quiet and cordial neighbors on the next door to you. You ain't really gotta think about them doing no fuck shit to you like that, man. All right, but nevertheless, hey, people would say that those people are extremists, but hey, I guess, you know what I'm saying? You can be an extremist if you're in an extremely wicked world and you're trying to be righteous. But hey, this is what it is. But going back, Isaiah 55:6, it says, "Seek ye Yahweh while he may be found, call ye upon him while he is near. Let the wicked forsake his ways, and the unrighteous man his thoughts, and let him return to Yahweh, and he will have mercy upon him, and to our power, for he will abundantly pardon." All right, so hey, seek the Lord while he may be found, man. All right, and the Lord will give you this here wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, like Scripture speak about. Wisdom and knowledge should be the stability of that time, man. All right, so hey, when you come into this here truth, the Lord opens up your eyes to seeing these things, man. All right, hey, just pray that the Lord give you enough to where you can be able to sustain yourself, man. All right, but hey, we know that we're coming upon a time where all this here stuff is about to become. Let's go back to that. Obsolete, or not to say obsolete, but there's a different word I'm looking for. This is pretty much going to be not censored, but it's going to be censored. It's going to be what I'm looking for. It's not going to be good for you to be viewing. It's going to be bad for you to be viewing this here stuff. More or less to say. Amos 8:11, it says, "Behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, power, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread nor of thirst for water, but of hearing the words of Yahweh." So it's going to come a point in time where you're not going to be able to hear these here words, man. All right, you're not going to be able to find out this here truth, man. You're not going to be able to sit there and watch the videos. Don't take it for granted. At this point in time, I want to hear what's going on in the news and the prophecies, man. Hey, we watch the videos like people watch the nightly news. What's going on? What's going on in Israel tonight? You know what I'm saying? You got your study lessons. You got what's going on. Amongst these people that's coming up against Israel. You know what I'm saying? You got news and prophecy that's going on. All right, so hey, you have not to say an abundance, but you have so much stuff to be consuming and watching, man. All right, to be fed off of, man. All right, you have like how you say an all you can eat buffet, but soon this here food is gonna run out. All right. It says, "And they shall wander from sea to sea, and from north even to the east, and they shall run to and fro to seek the word of Yahweh, and shall not find it." So you're gonna have people that's gonna be looking for the word, man, looking for how to do certain things. Well, look, and I guarantee you at that point in time, you're gonna have more and more people coming out the woodwork to teach certain things at that point in time. You know why? Because the information war. So now, hey, look, when the truth is being taken away, you're gonna have to result on what what you was built up on. You're not gonna be able to go back and let's watch this here videos, watch that. But you're gonna be, guess what you're gonna be exposed to? People telling you the opposite of well, this is what it was, this is what it was, this is what it was. So you're not there to hear the story firsthand, man. You got to take everybody's secondhand account of these things, man. And at this here point in time, people are only, using these things to benefit themselves, man. So this is why it says, well, let me read. It says in verse 13, "In that day shall the fair virgins and the young men faint for thirst." But let's go back to second Ezra's. I think it's let me see, was it 5 and 9? It says, "And salt water shall be found in the sweet." All right, and now look, you're gonna be looking for fresh water. You're gonna find salt water, which is gonna dehydrate you even more than in the beginning. All right, so you're gonna come in looking for information, and you're gonna be worse off than where you started it, man. All right, you're gonna be looking for some directions. Let's just say give you an example. You're like, hey, which way is the closest gas station? You know what I'm saying? Somebody point you, hey, the closest gas station is 5 miles down that way. Good, I only got 6 miles worth of gas left, and I'm about to run out. You know what I'm saying? And then they point you down that direction. You go all the way down that direction. Come to find out that gas station been out of service for the last 10 years. He didn't give you the full information. I'm like, fuck, I'm worse off than where I was before. I would have been better off if I would have just stopped where I was at and conserved my gas, so I came across somebody else to use my last little bit of gas going into no man's land. I'm worse off than I was before. But this is what it's going to be like, man. All right, you already have people like, look at it nowadays, man. You have people that make money off of, look at the churches, man. Look at black women's culture, man. You have people that make money off of selling lies to black women, whether it be in the beauty standards, relationship standards, all these different things, health standards and everything else like that, man. That just make money off of just selling them lies all day long, man. So how much more in a point in time, like where people going to be, instead of, the trending topic is how to make money fast, how to make residual income, how to find what they call a six-figure man or a high class, high quality man, whatever the fuck it is called. These top things what people are looking for, how to get rich quick. These are your trending top topics that people are looking for. But at that point in time, people are gonna be looking for answers, man. And what do you think is gonna be the hottest commodity to be selling? So-called knowledge. That's pseudoscience at that point in time, man. All right, that's all what you're gonna find. Things is gonna set you back further than where you were beforehand. It says, and they shall be. Verse 9, and salt water shall be found in the sweet, and all friends shall destroy one another. All right, that's part of the fact. When people start selling you lies, man, all right, people are going to be destroying one another, man. All right, and then shall wit hide itself, and understanding withdraw itself into his secret chamber. All right, and going to this point in time where you have the famine of the word, all right, Jacob's trouble that's going on and everything else like that, man. All right, this here knowledge is not going to be on the forefront no more, man. And again, like I said, or like they're saying, all right, they're trying to get rid of all this here stuff, man. Make it all extremist ideology and everything. But the Lord also spoke about this here famine of the word that's coming to pass, man. All right. I was about to grab that precept just slipped my mind. Anyway, we'll close out with this. Matthew 24:9, I believe it is. Yep. It says, and then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and you shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. All right. And it's not for what your actions are going to be doing. It's for, ultimately it's going to be your actions, because you're going to be living through your actions, but mainly off of your beliefs. All right. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's for instance, it's not the fact that I'm not eating pork. You know what I'm saying? That motherfuckers is not going to like you. It's not the fact that, I think that you shouldn't be sleeping with another man's woman, all right, and things like that. A woman should only be sleeping with one man. It's not because of that I'm actually doing those things. You know what I'm saying? No, I don't want to sleep with this here woman because she got a man. It's not. That's not going to be the reason why. It's going to be your beliefs that this is wrong to be doing this. That you believe it in, with the words of the Lord, man. You believe these things is what they're going to wind up persecute you for, man. All right. So when they talk about this extreme ideology, man, I extremely have faith in the Lord, man. I truly believe that there's some demonic shit that's going on out here, man. I believe that the devil is out here running loose, man. But they want you to believe, no, there's no such thing as a devil. This stuff is not wicked that's going on, man. Cutting off little kids' rights, all this stuff. If you think that this stuff that's going on is wicked, then you're not progressive. You're the problem. You're the extremist. Hey, yeah, I'd rather be an extremist in a fucking wicked ass world when I'm, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to be righteous over here, but all y'all being wicked, man. All right, just like you in a, some of y'all might have been that little kid in the class or everybody cutting up when the teacher walk out. And you just, hey, y'all chill out, bro. I ain't trying to get in trouble. I ain't trying to do this. Hey, man, shut your lame ass up. All right, yeah, you the one oddball, but everybody else, they just doing wickedness at this point in time, man. You could, follow the multitude to do wicked. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, nah, but that's an abomination. All right, but yeah, you the oddball, so yeah, you're the extremist. You got the extreme view that we shouldn't be acting up in class. Hey, just because I got an extreme view of what we're doing don't mean my extreme view is a wrong or a violent viewpoint. All right. But I'm going to go ahead and close out with that. Lord willing, the elect was edified with this here lesson. Until next time, I say, call halal, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of the great millstone. I taught us this truth and I rule well. And citation, much love for you. I can push this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed, edify the elect. Until next time, I say, stay strong. Shalom.